We knew from beginning that we must make a system that everybody can use. And as we wanted to have it as a standard. And this means we must do a product that can exist a lifetime. We didn't want any batteries, and it must be cheap. Else, bigger companies can't afford to put it into every ski boot or every ski jacket.
Welcome to HeroInside the Ingredient Branding Podcast with Tomas Vučurović. In each episode, Tomas will draw from his vast experience as the go-to global ingredient branding expert and will discuss this subject with visionaries and pioneers in the field. How do you go from the zero position as a supplier of a new ingredient to the hero position in demand around the world? Let's find out.
Welcome to episode 11 of the HeroInside Ingredient Branding Podcast. My name is Tomas Vučurović, and today I am joined by Magnus Granhed, the visionary founder of RECCO Rescue Technology. Triggered by experiencing an avalanche firsthand, Magnus has developed a technology that makes outdoor enthusiasts searchable in the case of an accident. Today, RECCO detectors are used worldwide by rescue professionals, and their reflectors are integrated in hundreds of products of leading outdoor brands, from clothing to ski boots, helmets, or backpacks. In this episode, we will explore the amazing 40-year journey of RECCO. Stay with us as we uncover the story behind RECCO's mission to make everyone searchable. So Magnus, recently here in the Slovenian Alps, not far from where I live, we witnessed one of the biggest rescue operations in the country's history. The whole country held its breath over Christmas and there was over 100 rescuers trying to save 2 Hungarian winter climbers. And we could all see the location from where we are living. And it was really terrifying feeling to look up and know that 2 people were struggling to survive while they could probably see the lights from the villages and towns below. In the end, it was the RECCO technology that played a crucial role in locating them in the most difficult terrain. So we have a very timely reason to have you here on the show today. You started your adventure over 40 years ago. So maybe first tell us, what are you doing today? I know you are a board member and still very fond of the technology development, but what's your role in RECCO today?
I'm in the board, and I'm still majority owner. So of course I'm very interested in the company. I take part in the development of the technology because it was there I started. But I'm not involved in marketing, sale, those kind of questions on a daily basis. But I have quite a good view where we are going and try to keep to the bigger issues in the company.
Super. Magnus, can you tell us what motivated you to create the system in the first place, a system that helps to locate people during rescues?
When I was 27, I was involved in an avalanche accident in Åre, one of the biggest ski areas in Sweden. I was not buried, but I was on the top of the snow, standing and realizing now it's people lying under the snow here. We don't exactly how many they were. And it was a sunny day, a nice day. And suddenly we were involved in trying to save the life of people. And as I said, we didn't know how many they were, but in the end, we found them after 3 hours, and they were both dead. And I knew quite well one of them. So that was for me an eye opener. I hadn't seen avalanches that close earlier, and that was sort of shock to realize we can ski and have fun, and suddenly 2 people are dead. And I just finished my studies at the Institute of Technology in Stockholm and started to think, why couldn't we find people in snow when we can send people to the moon? And at that time, there were no transceivers on the market, and there were no other tool than a dog and a probe. And we found the two people by probing, and that took 3 hours. And of course, both of them were dead. So that was, without knowing it, a start of a sort of intellectual thinking. What could be done? And I contacted a professor at the Institute of Technology, and it turned out that he tried to measure temperature in the body on cancer tumors. And we thought it could be a technology to find a person under snow. And we got the idea we should use what is called harmonic radar. You transmit a signal, and then the reflector is doubling the frequency. So the detector that the ski patroller has in his hand or hanging under a helicopter is a transmitter and a receiver on the double frequency.
Yeah, so this development must have been huge, right? From early reflectors and detectors to today's sophisticated systems used by helicopters to scan large areas. What were the key milestones? Was that digitization, the emergence of mobile phones and smaller devices? How did you move from these first, I can imagine, quite big detectors towards where you are today technologically?
Yeah, I mean, at that time, we didn't even have a personal computer. So it was very early. And normally, when you start at the university level, there is no industry yet to make a product. So the first detector had a weight of 16 kilo. Then in the end of the 90s, the whole industry started to change. The mobile telephone industry delivered much smaller telephones and much smaller and better components. So then also RECCO had a change. In end of the 90s, we could make much smaller detectors.
Good. And when actually was the time when the first person was successfully rescued with RECCO, and how did you feel in that moment when your vision came to life, so to say?
Yeah, that happened quite early. That happened I think in 86 or 87. A girl had got some reflectors from a salesman in a shop, and she ended up in an avalanche later in the afternoon. And when that happened, was a very strong feeling. Both for me and my colleagues, and it was also a big thing for the rescue people who did it. And I mean, that showed that our idea was right. We started with this in order to try to solve the problem, and now we saw that we had solved a problem. So also the industry, the brands started to be interested when they realize that RECCO is a fact.
Have you met that girl ever?
Yeah, I met her.
And what did she say?
I could say she was a happy customer.
Then you launched RECCO with Air Zermatt as the first rescue partner, and then Degree 7 or SET as the first brand partner. How did these first partnerships start? And was this the beginning of your attempt to bring together rescue organizations on one side and brand partners on the other?
Yeah, we contacted Air Zermatt. We had an idea that they had good experience in rescue, and the Air Zermatt was led by Beat Perren, and the rescue organization in Zermatt by Bruno Jelk. And those two were, in our opinion, very experienced and were very innovative. They had a vision to develop rescue in different aspects. So that was an important event. And then they took part very much in the development of the technology. And The first brand was Degré, and that company was led by Patrick Valençon, a very well-known skier at that time. So that's how we, in fact, got started.
Wow. We just in the last episode talked with the guys from ReZero how important it is to develop together with the clients the technology in partnership. And you've done that already 35 years ago. So we can see that this is an important success element of ingredient branding. Talking about ingredient branding, Magnus, I always remember our previous conversation. I think it was during COVID at ISPO, and you were mentioning that you didn't know what ingredient branding is, or that it was called that when you started. So how did you naturally develop RECCO as an ingredient brand?
I mean, the fact that there were companies on the market working as ingredient brand, like Gore, I think Vibran was on the market already at that time. So the fact that type of companies did exist, but we never used the word ingredient branding. So, I mean, we had our business idea and we worked on that, and B2B was the most important thing to do. We wanted to create a standard that every skier should be equipped with RECCO.
Super, very good. Another thing I really like about RECCO is also your mission statement, Be Searchable, because it's one of the most powerful ingredient brand promises. I just love that. 2 words, as short and to the point as you can get. You always wanted to equip the masses, not just elite athletes. And also you wanted to create a device that would last for a lifetime without maintenance. So how did you envision that this would be possible? And what also inspired you to make the solution so widely available?
We knew from beginning that we must make a system that everybody can use. And as we wanted to have it as a standard. And this means we must do a product that can exist a lifetime. We didn't want any batteries, and it must be cheap. Else, bigger companies can't afford to put it into every ski boot or every ski jacket. So that was clear from beginning. We wanted to reach the big masses. And when it comes to the word Be Searchable, was not created by an expensive advertising bureau in Stockholm. It was, in fact, what the rescue people told us. You have to tell the consumer that consumer must be searchable, because that will help us and it will help them. So Be Searchable comes from the rescue community, and it's not created by us as a marketing tool. So
Okay, so there wouldn't have been a job for us to help you in defining that brand promise. You took it from the community. Excellent.
yeah,
Now you have grown almost 1,000 ski resorts and mountain rescue organizations, more than 30 countries. You work with hundreds of brand partners. I think you just added Nepal to the list of countries. How have you been able to build and then also maintain such a vast global network?
we haven't done it alone. We have very much done it with the rescue community and with the brands. We have tried to get together and to have the brands talking directly to the rescue community, because many brands want to be supplier to rescue because the rescue people have high demands on, for example, ski clothing. So it's a three-part organization that has organized this. We couldn't have done it alone, but the rescue organization has a good capacity and strong impact, and also many of our brands has a strong impact on the market. So it's a three-part activity.
So in modern marketing, we would say a triple win solution. And if we include the consumers, it's actually then four who are benefiting from that.
You realize I don't have the modern English words for everything we are doing. We just do it. So
Yes, that would be another great brand promise from another brand, which just do it. Yeah, then you had a big shift, I believe, from a winter specific business trying to find skiers and maybe also mountaineers in the winter to a year round outdoor rescue operations, including the summer, where you also have to cover much larger areas compared to certain slopes. In a ski resort, there you have to cover a whole mountain or a whole valley and trying to find someone. A, why did you do that? And B, how?
we realized we had the technological possibility to do it. And we realized that searching for people was much bigger in summer than in winter. So we realized we could help the rescue people to be a good tool also in summer. So that was a quite natural step, and it was asked from the rescue community, why don't you do something which can search for bigger areas? Usually an avalanche is a small field to search, and this is a different challenge. But by flying 100 kilometers an hour, 100 meters high, covering a strip of 100 to 150 meters would speed up searching dramatically. So, and also it's a very good tool finding people in crevasses and also in wintertime. So the new heli detector is a tool, both, it's an all year round system. So we can conclude by saying RECCO is not winter or summer tool, it's an all year round tool. And if you look at many jackets, for example, people can ski with them. They can use them in trekking in the mountains in autumn. So the direction is to have, for example, ski clothing and boots that you use both summer and winter.
Yeah, particularly if you go with a layering principle and not with the warm insulated jackets, then you can use the equipment all year round, maybe also the backpacks.
Yeah.
And belts and some other parts. That leads me to a question, which is maybe very interesting for the startups and the younger companies amongst our listeners. And that is kind of this direct to consumer business. You know, today everybody's interested in going direct to consumer. I know, and we talked about it, you also offer your own devices that can be purchased in your online store. I think it's not really a strategic business for you, but how important is it that if I don't own any device from your brand partners, that I can also purchase a RECCO reflector directly?
So the brands are the main business. But when starting with more summer activities, we realize we, in the beginning, must have that possibility that people can put the reflector to the backpack or so. So the reflector is more a tool for marketing than it is really a product we want to sell in huge quantities. So the brands are in order to have a very good coverage and make it as a standard, we must and want to work with the brands.
Absolutely. I mean, it's always a challenge for ingredient brands when they make their own products. So I think to do that in harmony and collaboration with the brand partners, and that they understand why you're doing it, opening some doors, getting some early users into it, makes a lot of sense. So now you have all year round, winter and summer, you have the helicopters. Looking into the future, what can we expect from RECCO in terms of innovation? Is it the water, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, to put reflectors on live vests is a good idea. And that's something we're looking into. And we want to be able to search as efficient as possible. And therefore, we've been looking at drones for some years. And as we see drones are getting more and more common in the rescue community, we want to be a part of that. So we are right now developing a RECCO unit that can be put on a drone. I think in the future that will increase the possibilities for searching, as helicopter cost money, and both to buy and to use. So I think drones will be a good added value to the search system.
Great. That's really another major step for you. So you continue to develop and innovate, which again is another important success factor for ingredient brands, not to go out and say, I have a one-trick pony here, I can do that, and then trying to be in the market for decades, but to constantly evolve the technology further and bring new applications. We usually end this podcast with 2 questions about ingredient branding, but I think today I would like to make an exception because there is one more topic I would like to hear from you about. We're living in quite challenging times, and you communicated, and I saw also a video about that on your website, that optimism is a driving force, or always has been a driving force for you when you started the company, when you developed it over time. And I know this is very important for you. So maybe at the end, you can share with the community your views on how important optimism is in today's time.
Yeah, I think that's if you work as an entrepreneur, you have to see all the possibilities and be a little bit blind to all the problems that can occur. So, and I have a feeling there are different types of people in the world. It's some people only see possibilities and some only see problems. And I think to do new things, there are always many being negative. Why should you do that? So, I mean, you need to be an optimist, that's for sure. So, and I think that goes for you talked about the world today. It's a lot of problems. Yeah, it's a lot of problems. A lot of things are happening, but it's a lot of possibilities.
Thank you. That's very wise. And there's this saying, I can find a problem for every solution. So you are probably working on the opposite. Thank you, Magnus. We're already at the end. Thanks for the inspiration and wisdom you shared with us today. I think it was another powerful and amazing ingredient brand story here on our podcast. And good luck. I think you have a few days of skiing in front of you, so enjoy that, and hope to see you soon at one of the shows.
Yeah, I hope so too. Thank you. Thank you.
That wraps up today's conversation with Magnus Granhed of RECCO. He took us through the journey that started over 40 years ago, from the days when their devices weighed 16 kilos to tomorrow when they are developing small drone-friendly detectors. As Magnus shared, RECCO's journey is a testament to the power of collaboration and partnership. Although he was initially unfamiliar with the concept of ingredient branding, it's clear that he naturally embodies its principles, while also genuinely caring for the safety of people. We are excited to see where RECCO's innovations will lead next. To share your insights and questions for this episode, head over to our Brained LinkedIn page and join the conversation. The link will also be posted in the show notes. Subscribe to the HeroInside podcast to be sure not to miss the next episode. Until then, keep exploring, learning, and being a hero in your journey towards a better world.
This has been an episode of HeroInside, the Ingredient Branding Podcast with Tomas Vucurowicz. Each episode features stories and wisdom from game-changing creators and the shapers of the world's most exciting and influential ingredient brands. To learn more about ingredient branding and Tomas's work, visit brained.co. That's BRAIND.co. Until next time,